Yes, amazing. So welcome to our extraordinary overflow call. This is our second call for extraordinary overflow, where we are looking at our book of the month, which is Young and Wise by Dr. Luke Kwamina. And we are listening to this audio every single day to really get our minds in the right place. And today's call is titled A Decision to Grow, right? A Decision to Grow. And listening to the audio, I believe it's, as I said, I started again, chapter 1 or chapter 2, where he says that no matter, he says in that audio, and I don't know if you guys caught it, but he said, how you're born and where you live and what house you're born into and the parents that you're born into is not your decision, but how you die is based on your choices. And I thought that was such a powerful statement, meaning that we all have the choice in what it is that we do, the choices that we make. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what? He's absolutely right. Like we have the decision to decide to grow, because I believe that every situation that we face and everything that happens on a day-to-day basis is an opportunity for us to grow. Like, there were people that made a decision not to join this call. There's those of you that are on this call that have made a decision to join this call. You've made a decision to grow. You've made a decision to get your mind in a place that can give you that little bit of a head start, a little bit of an advantage for the rest of the week. Every single thing in our life, the moment that we, and I'm not going back into the power principle, we did that last month. But the moment that we decide to become powerful as opposed to powerless, and we recognize that we have a choice in how we look at life. And, the song that we played at the beginning was, a song of real gratitude and, talking about being in pain and how there's times, because it's easy to make the right choices when things are going great. Yes or yes? Come on, guys, talk to me. When you have, it's funny how when things are going good, you can make all the best decisions. You can be the happiest person. You can be, really amazing. You can be somebody that is just willing to just do all of the things. But under pressure, then there's a decision to make. I'll tell you this, guys, under pressure, I've had to make choices on where I allocate my time. Under pressure, I've had to now say the things I used to do, I've got to make a decision if that is the best use of my time based on what it is that I'm going through, based on what it is that I'm doing. I've had to put my foot down. Here's what happens during a season of pressure. During a season of pressure is where you have to prioritize. I want you to write that down. Prioritization. I was watching something today by Will Smith, and he was speaking about how under stress and pressure is where your best work comes from. That's where your character is built. That's where you really find out who you really are. That's where you really find out what it is in life that you really want to do. You see, when things are going great, when you have all the time in the world, when you have, all the money in the world, you can go and you can do everything. But when you're under pressure, when you have to prioritize, when you have to be in a season where you have to say, do I do this or do I do this? Is this best use of my time? If I do this, it's going to put me in this position. When you're under pressure, that's where you have to make the best decisions ever. Have you ever seen any of those movies where, I think it was, you guys are going to laugh at me now, Norbit. You guys remember Norbit? One of my favorite movies. I love a little bit of Eddie Murphy, and there's a part in Norbit where they realize that he has the power to distract the young lady to sign the contract whilst she is thinking about something else. So when you're distracted, the enemy will come, and you will have a decision to make whether you go ahead and do something or not. What am I saying? Under pressure, would you just sign something without really reading it? Under pressure, could you leave the front door open or the car door open and forget to lock it? Under pressure, would you, slip up and say something you wouldn't naturally say? Under pressure, how do you behave? What do you say under pressure? Because under pressure, you can put yourself in a vulnerable situation. Under pressure, you can subject yourself to abuse. Hear me out, guys. Hear me out. There's a reevaluation process that has to take place under pressure. Let me give you a little example. You're under pressure and you share that pressure with the wrong person. You share that pressure with the wrong person, and here's what happens is you now become vulnerable. You now become a target because you shared your weakness to somebody else. Let's say, for example, you say to that person, hey, look, I'm not really good at paperwork. So they know you're not good at paperwork, so they get you to sign your life savings away because you've now revealed that part of you that now makes you vulnerable. Are you guys hearing what I'm saying? Under pressure is where you have to pay even more attention. Under pressure is where you need to be vigilant. And someone said, well, Nikki, why don't we just pray away the pressure? Why can't we just hope that the pressure doesn't come? Well, when you pray away the pressure, here's what you're actually doing is you're saying, I'm not ready to grow. You're saying, I don't want to grow. You're saying I don't want to learn the lessons through the actual process. I don't want to go through the process. And we know that pressure is where you really find out exactly who it is that you're called to be. Guys, you hear my story all the time. Baby father left me, pregnant. You guys know the story because I say it often. If that pressure didn't lick me, if that pressure never came to me, there would be no rebuild. If that pressure didn't push me, I wouldn't be thinking outside the box to say, okay, how can I get creative so I can be at home with my kids rather than working a 9 to 5? If that pressure didn't squeeze me, if I wasn't under pressure to pay my bills, I wouldn't have started thinking of creative ways how I could make a side hustle, how I'm able to expand. The pressure is where your clues are. I said to somebody the other day, do you know that your course, your business idea, your gift is on the end of what you've come through? So if you come through something, that is a clue and an indication to where your gifting lies. Nikki, what do you mean? Well, guess what? What I came through was baby father left me. And now the same thing that almost killed me is now the thing that's making me 6 and 7 figures every single year. I'm not saying that to boast. I'm saying that as an example that you're sitting down on a story. You're sitting down on something that potentially should be the thing that is going to help you to live out in your gift. But you see, sometimes we're so used to saying, why me, Lord? Why me? Like I'm on the verge of giving up. I can't take no more. Not realizing it, that this is a next level for you. The pressure is a next level for you. Now, sometimes the trials and tribulations come as disguised distractions, as you know. And so we've got to be, discerning enough to spot when there is just pressure and when there is situations of distraction and we can't put our time and energy into that because we understand the gift. So when you understand the gift, you understand what you can and what you can't get yourself involved in. Now, when it comes to this, guys, I want you guys to hear me because this thing right here blew my mind. And I've heard it many times, and I was speaking to my grandma, and my grandma said it to me today, and I said to her literally 10 minutes before this call, and I said, Nan, what you've just said to me right now is confirmation because this is what I plan to speak about on the call in 10 minutes. And Nanny just started to laugh. And Nanny said to me, and I'll tell you this, Nanny said to me this, and I'm going to give you guys a clear example. I'm going to talk about this because I think it's just it's just a juxtaposition, an oxymoron, whatever you want to call it, but you just don't think they go together like chalk and cheese or oil and water. And it's a scripture that talks about the wheat and the tares. I don't know if you guys know it. We haven't got time to go into it now. Matthew 13, 24 to 30. And it's about it's a parable actually around a seed that's been sown into the ground, right? It's a good seed. The good seed's been sown and, the enemy comes whilst everyone's asleep and sows some, bad seeds, right? And so when the crop begins to sprout, not only is, the good, seeds sprouting, but also as well, there's tears, which we could call stinging nettles, damaging, destructive plants, if you want to call it that, that's also growing with the good crop. And so one of the farmers comes along, or one of the boys, he goes, but sir, should we not tear away the bad stuff? Should we not take the bad stuff away to allow the good stuff to grow by itself? But by this point, it's actually the bad stuff that's helping support the good stuff, because the good stuff is not strong enough to hold up on its own. I don't know if some of you will catch that tomorrow. And so he says, no, for a season, I want you to write this bit down. For a season, the wheat and the tares must grow together. What does that mean? What does that mean? For a season, the good and the bad must roll together. For a season, if you uproot the tares away from the good crop, you're actually going to damage the good crop in the process. So for a season, you're going to have to hang around in that sticky situation. For a season, there's something you need to learn in that job that you think the boss is treating you badly. In a season, there's something that you need to learn from that situation. For a season, you have to stick it out. You can't quit. For a season, there's some things that's got to happen to help you build stronger, to help you be able to have the muscle to go forward into what it is that you need to get to. But if you uproot too early, you're going to damage yourself. If you uproot too early, then the fruit is not going to be ready to do what it needs to do. And so can you imagine? And, when I used to watch TV, I used to watch like Power and Empire and all these shows, and used to see like the CEOs, and they used to do deals with their enemies, and they used to roll with the enemies. And you're thinking, I can't imagine working with people that I don't like. I can't imagine doing business with people that I don't get on with. I can't imagine people that want to stab me in the back. And I am still having to negotiate. But in everything, that's these Ecclesiastics, in everything, there is a season. And so there will come a season where you have to work with people that you don't like. There will be a season where you have to work through the night when you're tired. There will be a season where you're going to have to, fight through the insecurities. There will be a season where health issues come up. There will be a season where you're battling, constantly fighting. You feel like you're going 3 steps forward and then 5 steps back. There will be a season of challenge. But that challenge is going to help you to develop the harvest that is about to manifest. But we got to recognize it. And I thought to myself, listening to this audio, in the audio, he's talking about, how we really must understand whose we are. Understand why we're here, and the fact that we were put here for a purpose, and the fact of what we're going through is based on the purpose that we have. I've never looked at it like that. So check this out, guys. So we're thinking, and I said this last week, I said the week before, that we were formed. Okay, the purpose was formed before we were formed. You remember me saying that last week. The purpose was formed, and then we were formed, okay, before the purpose, after the purpose, meaning that before we were formed, there was a reason why we were put on this earth. We related it to the chair. Before the chair was actually created, someone thought in their mind that we need something to sit on. They didn't think, I'm going to create a chair. They said, we need something to sit on. And so the chair was created. So the same way that the chair was created to fulfill a purpose for us to be seated, we all were created for a purpose. Now, that's what I said last week. But here's how the audio takes it a whole nother level. So I'm going to say another level. Another level is this. What you're going through right now, the tears, not tears, the tears, you are the wheat, and the tears, what you're growing through right now, what you're growing through is based on the purpose that you have for your life. So when you're looking at your season, you're like, why am I going through this? Why is this happening? The reason why it's happening is because who you're called to be. You see, Nehemiah wouldn't have had the Sanballat, the Geshems, and Tobiah on his case if he wasn't called to rebuild the walls? Oh, you guys ain't getting it. Let me ask, do you think there would be a hospital with no patients? Do you think doctors, nurses, surgeons would have a job if there were no sick people? If there were no patients, do you think there would be a need for that job? Oh no, you need sick people in order to fulfill the gift of your life. In order for you to fulfill the mission, you need people you need sick people. There will be no need for a hospital. There'll be no need for doctors. There'll be no need for surgeons if there were no sick people. It's inevitable, guys. So we got to look at this in a whole nother level. Ask ourselves, am I determined to grow? I can't pray that the tears are taken away from me. I have to pray for the strength to grow through this situation. I have to pray that I know that I can learn through this situation. I have to pray that under pressure, I know exactly where to balance myself. I know exactly who I can talk to. I know exactly what's going on. Guys, I kid you not. I tell you this, there was a time when I was under serious pressure. Serious pressure. Things were not going good. And, you know, there was two sides to the coin. First type of pressure, I was young, 18. Me and my ex had an argument. And guess where I turned? Drug dealers. Under pressure. And now, guess what happened? That then exposed and opened up what? More pressure. Because poor choices lead to further delays, lead to further problems, lead to further consequences. When you're under pressure, you make poor choices, it makes things worse. How many of you have ever had you thought it was worse already, and then a bad situation turned even worse, and you think, why did I even do that? Have you ever shared something with someone and wished you were like, I didn't even need to do that. I wish I didn't even do that. I wish I didn't even go into that situation. I wish, but you see, here's what happens. This is what we call emotional intelligence. Guys, I cannot share this enough. During a season of vulnerability, there's certain decisions that should not be made. In a season of vulnerability, there are certain decisions that should not be made. Emotional intelligence says, I'm not even, you know, you can't sign something if you're mentally unstable, right? They will say, you are not stable enough to sign something because of your condition. When you're under pressure, when you're in a situation where your back's against the wall, emotional intelligence has to kick in. There's got to be something that pulls. And here's what I heard today. I heard this, and I think this is powerful. You guys got to write this down. This is what I heard. There is a difference. Let me just make sure I get it right. Right? This blew my mind. This right here, I was like, yeah, okay, this is deep. Right? Check this out. Right? There is a difference between fault and responsibility. There is a difference between fault and responsibility. So check this out. Something that happened to you that's not your fault, right? Someone can steal from you. Someone can, disappoint you. You can have an accident. You can have, there's so many things that can happen. A boss can fire you. You can have things happen on a daily basis that is genuinely not your fault. And a lot of the time what happens is we stick at fault as opposed to responsibility. Check it out. What happened to you wasn't your fault. What they did to you wasn't your fault. What happened in that situation was not your fault. But it's still your responsibility how you handle that situation. It's your responsibility how you allow that situation to affect you. It's your responsibility what you do in that season and the choices you make to move forward. You have a choice to allow something that was not your fault cripple you, And you sit in a pity party. Why they do that to me? Why this happening to me? This was not my fault. I didn't deserve this. And yeah, you're right. You didn't deserve it. It wasn't your fault. But do you say, because just because it wasn't your fault doesn't mean it's not your responsibility. It's still your responsibility to decide how you handle the situation that wasn't your fault. And the issue that we have a lot is that we get stuck on the fact that it's not my fault, and so they need to fix it. Now you become powerless. It's they need to fix it. I'm not doing this because they need to do that. I'm not having this because they need to do that. I'm not doing this because they need to do that. I tell you how many people stunt their growth, how many people lose their anointing, lose their gifting because they're waiting for somebody to apologize to them, somebody to fix something, for a boss or a corporate company to do something that was not their fault, but they haven't taken responsibility for moving forward in their life. And I want to say this to you guys, is this. There was a lot of things in my relationship, my past relationship, that wasn't my fault. There was a lot of things that I could say in my old corporate job that wasn't my fault. But it was my responsibility how I rebuild. It was my responsibility how I was going to get back. It was my responsibility. There's things that come up that's not my fault. There's things that come up that's actually sometimes not even my responsibility, but I make it my responsibility. I take it as a responsibility to say, this is what I can do to fix it. This is what I can do to take ownership of my life, to take ownership of my business, to take ownership of my family, and make a decision to move forward. It may not be your fault, but it's definitely your responsibility. It may not be something, you can't rewrite the past, but you can definitely dictate the future that you have for yourself. You can definitely make a decision to say, hey, look, I'm going to invest in my growth. Do you know, every situation that happens to me, it happens for me because I grow through every situation. Everything that happens. You know, I was speaking to my little sister today, and, you know, she was down. And she's just like, I'm getting old. I said, girl, you know, you're not getting old. Like, you're in your 20s. You're not getting old. And she's just caught up with times. And she's not where she wants to be. And she's, you know, just saying she wants to do this and that. And she wants to travel. And she feels like she's behind. And I said, what you're chasing is running away from you. Do you know that if you chase something, it's actually running away from you? You've got to work on attracting what it is that you want in your life. Become attractive to what it is that you believe you desire. But I also said this to her, and I think she felt like I was a little bit somber. I said, do you know in life, you will never find happiness. You'll never find happiness. What you think is going to make you happy, when I have, you know, 20,000 a month coming in, when I get that new job, when I upgrade the house, when I clear my debts, when I retire with X amount, when I retire my parents, all of the things that you think are going to bring you happiness when you do this and when you do that, let me tell you now, it's a lie. Happiness isn't found externally, it's found within. Your happiness, your joy, the thing that you're looking for out there is actually found on the inside of you. It's already there. You've got to unlock. And we said this last week. If you do not find your purpose, if you do not understand the gift that God has put on the inside of you, you will never find your joy. Happiness, all of that stuff is not going to come in monetary. It's not going to come in bricks and mortar. It's not going to come in goals. It's not going to come in all this success that you see on Instagram. It's going to come from that internal accomplishment of fulfilling your purpose, of living out your goals. I wake up every single morning grateful because I know that I'm living in the goals. I found this book. I was sharing it today on Instagram. I think my husband took it back. Oh, there we go. Let me get it for you guys. I kid you not. Right? You guys know I'm hot. I'm hot on goals, right? I kid you not. Every year we do this, sat down, and at the back of the book, I wrote down my goals. I'm not going to show you my goals, but I'll tell you. At the beginning, it said, release book, create own NFT, women's retreat, retired parents, right? I wrote 50 down, right? Of the 50, I've accomplished 7 of them. I'm really proud of them because they're big goals. They're not like little goals, they're big goals. Wrote them down January 1st, 2023. And the book is here, right? And in the front of the book is mine and Anton's little scorecard. Every game we play, we hold each other accountable to who's the winner. And the loser has to sign to say they lost, which is mainly Anton. All right. But we have this book. At the beginning of the book is all our, our games that we play and, our scores. And you don't laugh. And at the back was the goals. And so we were playing a game because we like to play cards and stuff. We'd rather do that than watch movies. And as I was looking, I was like, oh my God, look at the goals. Let me see if I can tick some off. And I was surprised that I was like, oh my God, I actually wrote this down. Because sometimes you write things down and you forget. And I'm like, I wrote this down January 2023. I actually wrote this down. Have you written your goals down? Have you gone back to look and to see, okay, this is what I've done? Even if you haven't done all of them, do you understand that whatever you speak out of your mouth, it has to come through? This is why I set this homework of us understanding the purpose on the inside of us. You know, the enemy will have you forget your purpose and chase the bag, chase money. The enemy will have you chasing to be in the in crowd, chasing for the finances, chasing for the promotion, chasing to be accepted, chasing the relationship, chasing. But how about we begin to start attracting? I don't chase. Someone said to me, Nikki, can you text me when you're free? I said, I'm never free. I'm always expensive. I have to be careful about the words that I use. I'm never free. And I don't chase. I attract. I'm looking for who's looking for me. And I'm unapologetic about it. You know what else pressure will have you do? Raise the bar. It will have you raise your standards. Have you ever been under pressure and you're like, you know what? I ain't doing this no more. Like the old me is a different me now. Have you ever become a new person based on the pressure? Have you ever been under pressure? I remember when the baby father left me, and I remember calling, one of my friends, and she didn't show up or whatever. I called 2 of my friends. I called one friend who I wanted to go to her house. Like she offered for me to eat at her home because I was hungry. I had no money. And then 10, 15 minutes later, she called me to say, oh, you can't come to my house anymore. And then there was another friend who I'd called and my cupboards were empty. Like when I say empty, guys, this is why when people come to my house and they see my cupboard so full, I've got varieties for dates, they don't understand that I'm never going back to that place again where my cupboards were empty. Like my cupboards were so empty. And so this other friend, I'd called her on another day and I was just like, I'm so hungry. Like, and by, not shading her or anything, but in my good season, this friend, I'd sent her money, so much money, helped her a lot. And so I thought I could trust her with my vulnerability. And I was like, girl, I've got no food in my cupboard. I'm hungry, pregnant, have no money. I can't even put petrol in my car. I've called in sick to work because I can't even get to work. And I'm so vulnerable. I'm almost in tears. And when you're telling that story, but you're not asking because you're so pride, you're so shame, but you're proud at the same time. You're saying it, but you're not saying it. So I just want her to just say, oh, I'll send you £20 in your account. I want her to say it. And instead she says, look, I'm just about to go in the hairdressers to get my hair done. I'll call you back. And she never phoned back for a week or 2 weeks. And, when you're under pressure, you start to make decisions because you start to think hold up, when you needed me, hold up now. I ain't good. My standard has to raise now. You see, the certain things I used to do, I ain't doing that. No, you start to really make decisions and say certain places I used to go, certain people I used to ride for. I thought we were riders. I thought you had my back as much as I had your back. But it's those seasons where you really discover who's really there, who really cares, who sees you as just a number, a meal ticket, or who sees you for who you really are, who really understands. You know, it's funny. I was saying to one of my friends today, you know, the amount of messages that I've had from people, you know, just saying, Nikki, I hope your stepdad's okay, and I hope everything's all right. And I said, listen, God has really, really blessed me with a strength that no matter what's going on in my personal life, I have found a way to get things done. Like, I kid you not, guys, whilst I was in America, you know, I got the phone call that he had, fallen down. And some of you may know he had 2 strokes. And I had the phone call whilst I was there. And my husband went and got him, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as I landed on the Tuesday, right? As soon as I landed on the Tuesday, he was admitted into hospital. And we've been into hospital every single day, all right? Every day. And I'm talking about like traditional Rastaman, you know, not really eating in the hospital. So I got to feed him, do all the rest of that. As well as run a business, manage the children, expectations of them. I had a school party on the weekend that I really didn't want to go to because I'm tired. Hubby's birthday coming up, and just different things that are happening that are important in my life. That would be, business, doing the calls every day, all the stuff that still need to get done. And I said to myself, God has just put in me a muscle that says things just have to get done. Now, here's what's happened in the process. There's been some pruning. I've had to prioritize and say, okay, what is going to get done? What do I need to get done on this day, and what can wait? What is the priority? What's the income producing activity? What's going to be detrimental to the brand or the family or the business? What needs to get done? And very quickly you begin to see where time has been wasted before, because the production, what's been able to get done in the shorter space of time, is the same things that would have got done in the previous time. And nothing has been dropped off, but it's just been an eye-opener to be like, okay, Nikki, there's still things you can do to streamline your day. There's still things that you can do to be able to get up. Now, here's what I'm saying, guys, going back to the beginning of the thing. What do you do under pressure? Do you roll up and say, I'll do it tomorrow? Oh, I can't be bothered. Pity party. Oh, this is too much. And we start to say all this. Guess what? Your gifting isn't too much. The reason why you're going through it is because God is testing you. He wants to see if you have the muscle and the capacity for more. And if you say you don't have the capacity for more, if you can't, listen, one thing I tell people all the time is the wheat and the tare have to grow together for a season. And if you can't manage that, you're going to break down. If you can't manage it, you are going to fold. If you can't manage it, your anointing, your gift is not going to manifest in the way that it needs to. So we have to grow that muscle. And the only way to grow the muscle is to grow through what's happening, to make a decision to get things done. I want you to type that in, get things done. I was in my bed. I was like, oh, I really could just stay in bed today. And one thing I love about my husband, he's just so cutthroat. He's like, Nikki, you gonna get up. There was a season, I tell you this, I was a bum, guys. It was about 2, maybe 3 years ago. I was coasting. 25,000 a month coming in, 20,000 mainly, some months 25, coming in on automation. Homegirl was waking up at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 call a week, chilling. And my husband, he's cool. He just let me be. And one day he's like, how long are you going to keep this up for? How long are you going to carry on doing this? Bearing in mind, I want 20,000 a month. He's like, you got to go harder than this. Like, what's your purpose? Like, the money didn't fulfill me because I wasn't living in my purpose. I had this money on tap. There was no reason to get out of bed because I did not know my purpose. I just turned into a bum with money. You got to get things done. got time to have a pity party. We haven't got time to think that the world is against us. No, everything is working for my good. So even when the trials come, disguised as trials, they're actually muscle strengthening techniques that's building up on the inside of me. How many of you right now have muscle strengthening situations happening? How many right now have situations that's testing the strength of your muscles right now? Come on now. How many of you have, you know when your muscles are being tested, when you're on the brink of quitting, when you're like, oh God, can I really do this? When you have to say like, Lord, did you really anoint me for this? Like, this season is dry. Like, when Noah was building the ark and everyone's laughing at him because there's no water. He's like, no, it's going to rain. The floods are coming in. They're like, homeboy, it ain't never rained. Dry. We dry. The land is dry. It ain't never rained. Have you ever been in a season where things are just dry? Like, ain't nothing working. You be speaking to people, ain't no one buying your products. Ain't no one buying your offer. You're going in, you're doing the most. It's just dry. You have people that said they were going to buy and then they don't buy. You're like, I've been depending on you. It's gone dry again. Why is it so dry? It's dry. You pray for that rain. You're like, rain on me, Lord. You start singing, rain. Rain on me. And there's no rain. It's dry. And we have to go for the dry season. There has to be a dry season. There has to be a season that tests the muscle. If you ain't tested, listen, you're not proven. Have you ever seen those things that say tested, proven and tested? When you buy something, you don't want nothing that ain't been proven and tested. You buy it and it gives you an electric shock because ain't no one tested it. You need it to be tested. It needs to be proven and tested. Proven and tested. We see it all the time. These are the laws. These are the standards that we live by. But we don't want to go through it ourselves because it hurts. It's embarrassing. It's painful. It makes us insecure. It questions, oh, am I doing the right thing? Yes. What have I done? What's wrong with me? What's happening? Lord, I'm doing the right thing. I had a conversation with God today and I was like there was a word. It was almost like God was like testing me. He was like, aren't you afraid? Or maybe it was the devil. I don't even know. But I was like, no, I'm so not afraid. Like, I trust you, God. I'm having some whole big conversation. And I'm like, God, I trust you. I am not scared. I'm not afraid. You've pulled me through all the time. You've never let me down yet. I have nothing to fear. I never fear. I am secure in knowing that you are my Heavenly Father and everything that is good for me, everything will come to pass. So I have no doubt, no fear. I'm not worried whatsoever because I know that comes from the enemy. And so I trust you completely. So whatever your will is in alignment with what I'm focused on, it will come to pass because I have to be focused on something for it to be in the will of God. Don't let that go over your head. So some of you be praying like, oh Lord, have your way, but you're not focused on what the way you think it is. You have to be focused on what the way is. How do I prove this? In scripture, it says the woman with the issue of blood, she said, if only I can touch the hem of your garment, then I will be healed, right? And then he said, because of your faith, you are healed. So based on what you believe, based on the movements that you make is what will be in alignment with God saying, okay, that means that he can turn things in your favor if you believe it enough. That means that he will put you in a position to win, even if it wasn't even something that you were qualified for. But because you said, God, this has to come to pass. God, this is what you want. This is in alignment with who you call me to be. This is in my purpose. God, when you allow this to happen, when you open this door, I show you, Lord, that I'm going to serve you with all my heart. I'm going to show you. He will say, okay, your belief, because of your belief, it will come to pass. You are healed because of your faith. Don't tell me you're sinner, have your way, Lord, and you've got nothing. You got nothing there. Have your way, Lord. With what? And God's like, huh? What do you think I am, a magician? What are you talking about, woman? What do you mean, have my way? With what? What are you talking about? Right? Oh, ye with little faith. You're sitting there sleeping in a boat while there's a storm, and you're talking about, oh, like there's an emergency. There's no emergency. You just have no faith. What are you seeing? What are you speaking out of your mouth? You're ringing the alarm saying emergency. He's like, bro, chill yourself. Calm storm. People failed the test. People failed the test. And then when the storm's calmed, you're like, oh my God, it all worked out anyway. But you done failed the test because you were panicking. You weren't doing the right thing. You wasn't still praising in that situation. You wasn't still moving yourself towards where you need to go. So your back's against the wall. Money's a little bit tight. Frustrations happening. Health issues, family issues, children issues, issues on issues, debts, parking tickets, issues. What are you still speaking out of your mouth? I have no fear, Lord. I know that you will supply all my needs, Lord. And because I know that you will supply my needs, Lord, I will continue to plan what it is that you've put on the inside of me to do. So you put on the inside of me to do this. I'm going to continue to plan for it. I'm not going to stop planning, because the planning is the action, the work. Right? The planning is the work. So I'm not going to stop the works based on what I see. I'm going to keep doing the works, because based on my faith, that's what you are going to bless me with. Based on my faith, I shall be healed. Faith is an action word. Faith is a doing word. So if I lose my faith, then I get what I speak, which is, oh, this isn't going to work. Oh, maybe I am not purposeful. Maybe I don't. So now, because I'm speaking it, guess what's going to be granted? So back to the beginning of this is the choice. What do you choose? Do you choose to grow in a season that can feel a little bit frustrating? Do you choose to keep doing the right things, keep showing up, keep investing in yourself, keep pouring into your mind, keep pushing yourself to the next limit, keep planning? You know what's crazy? When I was going through the deepest, darkest depression, I went and I test drove the Range Rover. I had no money. Like, I went from driving a Renault Megane with no money to a BMW with no money, to then a Range Rover. I'm test driving. You see, when my back's against the wall, I'm going higher on the goal. I'm not going lower. Some of you are negotiating down. You're like, okay, maybe this year, I said I was going to go for 10,000, but maybe I should go for 5, because it's only a couple months left for the end of the year. And maybe I should just downgrade the goal. The devil is a liar. When you are on your back, when your back is against the wall, the goal goes higher. That's where you have to visualize more. That's where you have to go and test drive the car. That's when you have to go visit the house. You know how many houses I went to view broke with no money in my account? You know, when I went to view this house, we did not have the money. We came and viewed the house, and then because of our senses, we fell in love with the house. We were like, oh my God, we have to have the house. We start to work the figures out, and we were like, okay, now let's get to work. We put the offer in without the money. That's what you start speaking, oh, I don't have the money. We create that. Listen, I have a God. I don't know about you, but I have a Father that loves me so much that whatever I believe, he just seems to grant it. Whatever I believe, whatever I show that I'm dedicated on. And guys, this is not just faith without works. This is investigation, calculations, ringing solicitors, ringing the brokers, asking God to put the right people in front of me, doing the work, going to meetings, going to see people, speaking to them about the property, speaking to different estate agents, talking to different people, going around, even speaking to the lady who sold us this house. Listen, I promise you, we're just sorting out a few things. The few things was the Holy Spirit. There was no few things. The things was the Holy Spirit's about to work something. Just give us some more time. You know, just give us some more time. We're just sorting out a few things. God made a way. God made a way. Guess what happened? Because of our passion, because of our focus, the vision came to us. This is what you need to do. This is the strategy, what you need to do to make that money. And my husband will tell you, you see, when I got a vision, that's all I talk about. Every day, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm waking him up. Anton, I just saw the house. I've got an idea. Anton's like, go out of your bed, man. I'm tired. I'm like, Anton, wake up. Anton, wake up. Right? He'll tell you anytime we go, and we're in that season right now, guys. We are in that season again, because you know why? The higher the level, the bigger the goals. And God just keeps giving us more and more and more and more goals. And I'm going to give you the testimony after, but with this close, we're about to seal a deal that was just, impossible to man. But let me tell you this, when it's impossible to man, it is so possible for God. God wants you to show him, like prove him to be your God. Do you dare to ask him for something that you think is absolutely impossible? The reason why some of you ain't getting to that next level, because you're praying for the light bill to be paid. You're praying for something that some roadman around the corner you will find that money on the floor. Can you pray for something that when it comes through, you can say, only God? Like when this deal goes through, the only thing that can come out of myself and Anton's mouth is only God. No one, no man, nobody can claim the glory for this. It is only God. Can you ask him for something like that and then believe it in your spirit and your gut that it must come to pass? Make the choices. You say that you got to have that business. Why haven't you opened an Instagram yet? Why haven't you started contacting people yet? Why haven't you created the website yet? Why haven't you started making the calls yet? What you say that God laid it on your heart, but you're sitting down saying, I hand it over to you, Lord. What do you think he's going to do? You think he's going to fly down from heavens and say, here you go. Here you go, Donna. Here's the website. Here you go, Brenda. Here's the clients. No. Our faith is what heals us. The choice, guys. The year is not over. I declared it. I manifested it. I said, before this 90 days is ending, this year, we are going to have testimonies, extraordinary testimonies. Can you believe for it? That's the question. During the season where you got the tears tearing you down, no pun. Oh, that was funny, right? When you got the tears, can you roll with the tears? Donna got it. I love you, Donna. You're my fan. You're my biggest fan, you know, right? Can you roll with the tears? Roll with the punches, as they say. Can you do it scared? Can you do it stressed? Can you do it broke? Can you do it anyway with all the stuff going on? All the stuff. Can you still stay focused and get done what you need to get done? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited for your extraordinary overflow. Because what we're talking about here to the everyday man is crazy. Can you imagine not paying your mortgage for 4 months because of a vision that God gave you in a season where you were stripped from everything? But that decision unlocked unlimited doors. Literally, no, you know how many people are like, I don't have the money. Oh no, we find the money now. We're not paying the mortgage. No, you guys don't understand the level of faith that we're talking about. My mentor, his mom, before she passed away, rest in peace, she said, listen, the Lord told her to go to America. Homegirl got no visa. This woman packed her suitcase and went to the airport, bought a ticket. And because of her faith, the family were like, well, let's just take her to the airport because she's adamant she's going to America. And what happened, guys? Because of her faith, the security let her through. Because of her faith, she went to America. She was let in the country. Like these are crazy scenarios out here. You know, when you're almost, I tell you something, this is real life before I close out, because I want to show you guys this works. I walked through, I'm going through the airport. I'm not gonna lie, I had a broke moment. I think I told some of you guys this story. It's a couple of years ago. I had a broke moment and I booked standard class. I don't know what happened to me. I feel like I must have went dizzy. And I had a broke moment. I booked standard class. And as I got on the plane, the seat weren't right. I couldn't. You know, when you're so used to sitting in first or business, standard doesn't cut it. Economy, I can't even say economy. It just doesn't cut it. And my body started to reject. I'm so used to it, my body literally shut down. It started to reject this seat. And pain started to get me like an hour into the flight. I was in excruciating pain. Like, I don't know whether it was me telling my brain to be in pain so I can get out the seat, or whether my body shut down. I don't know what it was. It was the mind, the body, the mind. But whatever reason, I could not sit in that seat because I was no longer accustomed to sitting in that seat. And I started to cry. The person next to me was like, "You're all right? Do you want to call one of the air hostess?" Yeah, call them. Please call them. I can't sit here. Like, I honestly, somebody somewhere made a mistake. I should not be sitting here and I can't do it. I'm in pain, like my whole body. I was on the floor, guys. Like, I literally was on the floor. My whole body had shut down. And the air hostess came running over. I was like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Would you like, oh my God, let me get you a pillow." So I'm sitting on the floor. They put a pillow there because I can't get up. I'm by the doors, the escape doors. And I'm like having a full-blown meltdown. I'm like, I physically can't sit there. It's doing me in. Like, I can't sit there. And the guys come over, the head one, and he's gone, "Look, we've got two options. You know, it's really not safe for you to be sitting here by the exit door. So we've got two options. All right, we can either turn the plane around, go back, and call the ambulance and just get you straight to a hospital, or we can just put you in first class and see if that helps, and you just lay there and, you know, you can just be there." And I went, "Do you know what? I really wouldn't want to delay the rest of the passengers, so I think I'll take the upgrade." And I kid you not, guys, as soon as I sat there, my back was better. Like, I was healed. It was like a miracle, an entire miracle. My body was just like, I'm home. I was healed. There was no problems. I was enjoying that champagne down there. I was like, it was just like a feeling of, yo, I don't deserve to sit here. I shouldn't be sitting here. There's a mistake. And I'm so convicted by it, you know, and it happened to me twice. But the other time it was an emergency flight, and that's the only, like, they said that, you know, it was fully booked. I couldn't get into business. And so it was an emergency flight. They stuck me on, again, economy. No, it was the economy plus whatever. So I was like, okay, it's got a little bit of room. And it wasn't as bad, but it was a bit uncomfortable. And I just said, look, I called the, when I got on the plane, I called the, you know, I called the air hostess and I said, "Look, there seems to be an issue with my chair." She was like, "Oh, is it broken?" I was like, "No, they put me here. I'm not supposed to be here." And she was like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, I've never flown like this. Like, I always fly in business. Like, why have they put me here? You know, I don't understand why I'm here. Somebody's made a mistake with my ticket. Like, honestly, I just, like, I'm sitting here because they told me you'd move me when I get here, but like, I'm not happy." And she was just like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Here at, you know, Virgin, we don't, you know, we're really sorry, ma'am. Let me just take your bags. Come through." So, "Thank you." She's like, "Would you like to make a complaint?" "No, I definitely won't want to make, I don't want to make a fuss, but, you know, you're just so helpful." Guys, I don't sit in economy, paid or unpaid. I never do. Because I understand that that's not my anointing. I don't. And I genuinely now have trained my body to shut down. Like, if I sit there, it's game over. It really is. Like, and what's the point of me saying this? Is not for comedy. It's the fact that you set the standards for your life. If you don't like the way people talk to you, stop talking to them. If you don't like the job that you are in, change it. If you don't like the seat that you're sitting in, sit in a different seat. Demand your worth. Raise your standard. Don't sit in a situation that you can't stand, that you don't like, and just accept it. Like, you have the power of choice. You have the power to change any part of your life you don't like. Despite what the enemy says, despite what the rules say, you have a choice. You can demand and command to have things work in your favor. But do you have the faith for it? Do you have the faith for it? That's the question. Because as far as your faith will take you is as far as the goals that you're going to hit. So my prayer for everyone on this call is that you dream bigger, you think bigger, you begin to manifest bigger. Can you think of something that you think would be crazy to man? And only if it comes true, then you know it's God. That's the vision you got to cling on to. And that's the vision you got to walk into. Walk into it every day. Like you deserve to sit in first class. Like first class, is parallel to your gift. Is parallel to the anointing on your life that you deserve to fulfill that mission. Don't tell me, Nikki, but I got bills to pay, so I've got to go to work. Or Nikki, I don't want to hear none of that. Your gift will make room for you. The power is on the inside of you. You just have to believe it. The only one you haven't convinced yet is yourself. Oh, Nikki, I am convinced. If you were convinced, you would already be doing it by now. If you were convinced, it will happen when no one's looking. Guys, I didn't do that when everyone was looking. That's who I am when I'm around. Like, it's not for show. This is stuff. I live this stuff. I am this stuff. I believe that I deserve what it is that God has for me. I believe it in my spirit, and I believe it for you. So here's what I want us to do, guys. If you haven't already, right, it's really going to help you discover your purpose. It's going to help you to grow it. It's going to help you to deploy it. If you haven't already gone into Spotify or Amazon or iTunes or wherever you get your music from, go on there and get Young and Wise by Dr. Luke Kwamina and start listening to the daily devotions every day. They're 5 minutes, guys. It's going to help you to think about your purpose. It's going to help to pull out the purpose in you. It's going to help you to challenge your mindset. It's going to help you to push yourself to that next level where you understand your worth and you understand your gift. Your gift is not in your career. Your gift is not in your money. Your gift is not in vanity things. Your gift is about who you're called to serve, who you're called to serve is why you're going through the trials that you're going through, is why you're going through the tears right now, because you have to grow that muscle to be even more productive for who it is that you're called to serve. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm fired up. I'm excited. I'm ready. I know that the testimony is coming. There's a testimony that came today. I can't share it, but I'm celebrating. You know who you are, right? I'm celebrating, and there's more extra. I'm not talking about no little. This is not, little testimony. This is not the ordinary overflow. This is extraordinary overflow. So here's the homework today. I want you to write down one thing that you are praying to God for. I want you to write it down, and I want you to think about it every single day. Let it be the most dominating thought in your mind. I don't want no little tiny goal. I'm talking an extraordinary goal. I want you to write it down 10 times every day. Not necessarily share it with anyone, but I want you to write it down 10 times every day. That extraordinary goal. And you write it down as if it's already done. I'm so happy and grateful now that I, Donna, have boom, 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 boom by 31st of December, 2023. I'm so happy and grateful now that I, Simone, is boom, 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 31st of December, 2023. Every single day, 10 times a day. Let me tell you this, your consistency and your persistency is what is going to unlock this for you. I promise you this, if you do this properly, 7 days, you're going to have a revelation. Less than 7 days. I kid you not, guys. Trust me. Hold me to this word. You write it down every single day for 10 days. Every single day for 10 days. Before the 7th day, you will have a revelation. God will download in your spirit what to do. He's going to download in your spirit who to speak to. He's going to download in your spirit something that you need to do to expand on it. Will you trust me, guys? Will you trust me when I say I've done this? I've done it so many times, and he's never failed me yet. I'm taking this time to tell you, will you fight for your destiny? Will you fight for your goal? Will you fight for what it is that you need? Whatever it is, one thing. Not 1,000 things, one thing. Can you write it down, manifest it for the end of the year, guys? I don't care how impossible you think it is, that one thing. 10 times every single day. And I kid you not, within 7 days, we're going to hear testimony. Even if you don't share what the testimony is, I want you to come back here on the 7th day and say, Nikki, on day 4, I had confirmation. On day 6, that confirmation came. God will download in your spirit something that you need to do, a person you need to call, a strategy that you need to set up. He's going to put it in your spirit. I'm telling you now, it works. 10 times every day, starting tonight. Don't play with it. Don't go to your bed without doing it tonight. This is an instruction. When I hear from the Holy Spirit, I'm going to download it straight to you 10 times. You know what it's going to do? It's going to focus your mind. And you're going to think about it. You're going to be persistent. Here's the second thing I want you to do. Put an alarm on your phone. Everyone get your phone now. Set your alarm. 3 times for the day. And on that alarm, it's going to be that thing. I'm so happy and grateful now that I, Bev, December 31st, 2023. Set your alarm for 3 different times of the day. Let it go off. I want this goal to be beating you down. I want the goal to chase you down. I want it to be in your ears. I want you to think about it while you're sleeping. I want you to think about it multiple times for the day. Within 7 days, we're going to hear a testimony. How many of you received that? I'm excited. I'm ready to hear the testimonies. I know it's already done. It's done. Remember, when you decide to grow, the word decide means to kill the alternative. Just like homicide, pesticide means to kill, decide means to kill the alternative. It means this is what's going to happen. There is no other alternative. I've killed the alternative and it is done. Guys, I'm looking forward to seeing this homework. Okay. For those of you in the rebuild community, let me know your top takeaways. Those of you inside the MVU community, top takeaways in the section. I'm so happy for you guys. I'm elated. I'm excited. I'm ready to share. I'm ready to jump and shout. In fact, we could do that, you know, right now before it even manifests in the physical. It's going to manifest in the spiritual. Third piece of homework and final piece of homework. I heard this today. I want to share this with you today as we close out. I want you to close your eyes right now with me, guys. And I want you to listen to this quick story before we close out this call. And I heard this today and I just wanted to share it with you. Imagine this. Imagine you had somebody who someone who owed you money. They came back around and said, look, I've owed you money for 10 years. I'm really, really sorry. I've calculated the interest and now I've come into money. I really want to repay you. And that amount is £1 million. I just want to say thank you. This £1 million is here for you in the form of a check. Here you go. And you go to the bank because you're in shock. So you want to verify it's real. You want to verify that person has the money in your account, blah, blah, blah. And the bank confirmed that it's all legit. That £1 million is going to be transferred in your account, but it's going to take 7 days, but it's definitely coming into your account. They've given it a definite credit, which means that it is definitely going to be paid. So you walk out of the bank, you know that that million is going into your account. You've had the confirmation. Now, you almost walk a little bit differently now. Like you start to think, you start to make decisions. The energy in your body is different. You start to walk around. You start to think like, yo, my life has literally just changed. Like you now start to make plans about what you're going to do with some of the money. And you start to look online about, maybe buying an office for yourself or, getting certain investments. You start to look at maybe a course that you always wanted to buy, or you start to look at a car that you've always wanted to drive, or a house that you've always wanted to buy. And you start to make plans within that 7 days, despite nothing's really changed. Because the money's not in your account yet. You haven't had that physical representation. But there's a feeling inside of you of confirmation that things have changed. And so as you open your eyes right now, guys, what I want you to do is I want you to imagine right now your goal is already done. Just like as if you had that pre-advancement and you had to wait that 7 days. because it was nothing really changed but your mindset of a confirmation that that is coming in 7 days. And the same way you would behave if that was the case when it comes to the million. Your body would be moving different. Your decisions, where you go, the things you start to Google is different. I dare you to do that in this next 7 days for your goal. I dare you to imagine that it's happening in 7 days, but it just hasn't been cleared yet. What would you do? What would you investigate? What would you be Googling? Get that energy now. So when the 7 days come, you're already there. It's already there for you. You already imagined it. You've already embodied it because you know it is done. That's how you know it's done. When you almost can't even believe that it's not reality yet, that's how you know it's done. That's your third bit of homework, your imagination. And you live as if it's already done, like it's just pending in 7 days, like that check. And as I leave you with that, guys, I hope you were blessed. I was blessed today by this call. I hope you are blessed. Share the link with somebody next week. We're here each and every Monday. And just like the title of this call says, the power of a decision, making a decision to grow is your responsibility. Stuff may not be your fault, but it will take the ownership of taking that responsibility to allow God to work through us, despite us as the wheat rolling with the tears. We're going to make it happen. There will be a harvest, guys, on the back of your obedience to grow. God bless you, guys. I will see you at the top because you already know you deserve to be there. It's not going to be an easy climb, but we're going to get there brick by brick. The wall will be rebuilt. God bless you, guys. Love you so, so much. Love you so, 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 so much. Take care. Have a phenomenal rest of your night. God bless.